Why did we ever stop watching cartoons? What made us stop going back to fake animated pixels on a screen that sent a burst of serotonin into our underdeveloped minds, making us feel like we were worth more than an E- on a beginner maths test that wasn't even worth more than 10% of our grade, but still led to our parents giving us the mean girl treatment? I mean, honestly, I could travel to Europe on a fake passport, rob the Buckingham Palace, hurl a pig off the Eiffel Tower, come back dressed as a magical girl, and my parents would still be more annoyed at a maths test that is as important to life as logic is to sundays. Okay, maybe we all didn't have the same childhood. Wait, what was I talking about? One Punch Man has set the standard for comedy slash superpower anime. No show even comes close anymore. I think Dragon Ball fans just went into shock. Look, I liked Dragon Ball Z, but after Super Saiyan 2, things just became ridiculous, and Dragon Ball Super was just nonsense rainbow colors on steroids. In Super, every time someone screamed, they became more and more powerful, and does anyone remember when Super Saiyan the original actually meant something? A power not seen by any but a few and hasn't appeared for 1,000 years. Is that a fucking child running around as a Super Saiyan? One Punch Man is a cartoon. It is a parody on superpowered characters in general. It shows the world that 100 push-ups and 100 sit-ups will make you the strongest in the universe, but you still won't get any pussy. It fills the audience with a sense of comfort where we realize that no matter what we do, no matter how much we train, no matter how much we run away from our children to train in intergalactic spaceships to fight Bollywood Michael Jackson, there will always be a bald-headed noob gamer who will satisfy our wife's chronic headache and also save the world for us. All we can do is bow our head, crouch down, and pick up those weights because the climax of Saitama's fights after those intense build-ups get you more pumped than Grandma Ellen and Elise after a hard day's work. Season 1 was an absolute banger, and seeing Moomin Rider flatline the Deep Sea King all by himself in 2 seconds made me question All Might's decision to give One for All to Deku. I know, that's not what happened. It actually took Moomin less than a second to do it, but hey, I just wanted to be generous. What sets One Punch Man apart from the other animes is that it is a show that starts at the finish line and works its way to the beginning. What would happen if you dropped the ultimate final most powerful version of the shonen protagonist into a generic show about heroes and monsters? Just ask Ayano Giorano's Voldy Code. You get complete and utter domination. You get hard, you get soft, you get satisfied, you get all the things you thought you were going to get when you entered high school, only to get shoved into a locker and made to walk the street naked at 11 PM with a dildo strapped to your forehead. But that's enough about me. They spent all the budget for the show on the events and characters that don't include Saitama. Every epic fight is usually between Genos and the main villain, only for Genos to get fisted and Saitama has to come save the day. Heroes vs monsters. Everybody fights, everybody loses, except Saitama. That's the essence of the show. But even though the premise is very simple, that is where the magic of this anime actually lies. Seeing the weakest character in the anime challenge the strongest villain and get destroyed. Seeing a liar and a fraud who cries in every scene become a man eventually. Seeing a cocky, strong fighter cry out for help and become a humble hero. All of these things will tear even the coldest hearts open. Every single character besides the protagonist grows, changes, develops throughout the entire show. Every character is a protagonist in their own right. Every character can be focused on in the show. Every character is beloved by the audience. We understand, empathize with, cheer for, are astonished by every single character in this show. The aim of the anime is not to beat the biggest and baddest villains, although that is definitely present in the show in healthy quantities. The aim is to develop and nurture every single character into a protagonist. There isn't a single character in this anime that could not be their own show's protagonist. The villains in the show are there for that exact reason. Season 2 is where the show starts reaching its full potential. The different combinations of characters interacting with each other are like a superpowered cartoon orgy with battle tournament arcs, emotional reunions, a lolly and a mature version of the same telekinetic best girl, Chad Ryder, Garo, and the undisputed King Charanko. One Punch Man might not win the award for the most detailed and complex storytelling in anime history, but it sure as shit will go down as the most rewatchable show of all time. I mean, imagine your girlfriend is sitting next to you at her house and asks you to pull out the most interesting anime you know, and you know for a fact that this could lead to a tap and go or a slap and get the fuck out of here event. Do you really pull out Death Parade, Tokyo Ghoul, or Promised Neverland's only season, or do you pull out God's greatest gift to mankind in the form of a $5 budget, the Goku beater, the meat slapper, the C-class legend, Chad Ryder? But aesthetic, have you ever sat next to a girl who asked that? Of course I haven't, my anonymous friend. You might, but I never have and never will. That's why I said imagine. Has anyone ever thought about what would happen if Saitama ever got a wife and they smashed? You'd go from One Punch Man to One Thrust Man real fast, but are we gonna talk about how strong that bitch would have to be to not be turned into space dust? There will definitely be an explosion in that bedroom, but not the kind they want. Suiru's developments are one of the best I've ever seen, no matter what anyone says about him. I don't give a fuck about aliens blowing up planets, or aliens sending the world into war, or gay bigots from outer space turning straight men into homosexuals to trap intergalactic magical girls in a cage for food and entering a world in between life and death. Someone released a really funny parody of Promised Neverland and called it Season 2. What a funny legend. I just have to mention that. I care about the individual problems of characters we as the audience can actually relate to. Seeing Suiru, who is basically a young, healthy, carefree guy, gain a sense of responsibility after tremendous failure is everyone's story. What makes Moomin Rider so lovable and Beerus so forgettable? Nobody cares about god cats that can destroy planets who never face any resistance or triumph over tribulation, and nobody cares about large-scale tribulations like the universe exploding. We care when a character who has clearly not been given any superpowers, any natural talents, any prospect of overcoming his challenges, take on those challenges regardless. We care about an egocentric character that learns of their insignificance and tries to better themselves for the sake of the people around them, because that's how most of us in real life actually are. I know that Saitama himself is an absurdity and his character is a parody on superpowered characters themselves. We find these tropes funny on countless occasions, but he is clearly dealing with a very interesting problem throughout the series. When you have everything, is there anything else to live for? Seeing most of the focus on the growth of the other characters and the small instances of their development, backstory, history, thoughts, and relationship with others in an anime that is supposedly nothing but comic relief and cool battle scenes is like meeting a girl in a computer science class filled with dicks, thinking you weren't going to see a woman till you were called into the HR department for making the observation that yandere waifus deserve love too. The rarity of these emotional scenes in a comedy anime is what makes those scenes even more impactful and elevates the show from pure comedy to a wholesome, rewatchable piece of art. A story doesn't need to have two people on opposite sides of the country emotionally connected to a person they've known for 5 minutes. I'm looking at you 5 centimeters apart. To be well written, you can write a story about a guy with the ability to wank 100 times in a row, compete against superpowered slimes in the same game with a dead zombie tsundere as a love interest, and it can still be an intelligently written story. Of course, we love generic shonen protagonists who overcome the obstacle of bullying in one episode and fight against an angry green alien the next, and continue to scale the power levels to absurd numbers. We can't lie, those shows are still interesting as fuck, and we haven't evolved past our primate urges to see a goth lolly pilot a mecha alien whilst we practice our Goku scream knowing that we will never be loved. But every once in a while, we want to see someone blow that whole nonsense out of the water. Someone who piles up absurdity after absurdity for the sake of piling up absurdity. Someone who shamelessly sleeps with multiple women whilst being fully aware of their actions, right Mushoku Tensei? Someone who doesn't just increase the power scale, but someone who literally is the power scale. Mona Lisa didn't just set the standard for art, it became the standard for art. Just like how Tokyo Ghoul Season 2 didn't just set the standard for trash anime, it became the standard for literal, metaphorical, actual garbage on steroids. The next few seasons are going to be even bigger bangers considering the content they have to work with in the manga, and you know I'll be the first in line to watch it. One Punch Man will never be topped. Till next time.